Mamwe mamaria tukuharĩrĩirie Inoro hwaĩ-inĩ.
Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void.
Raila Odinga kũregana na maumĩrĩra ma gĩthurano kĩnene akiuga mĩtaratara ya bata nĩ ĩragararirwo. Commissioner na IEBC kuorota mathenya marĩa metĩkĩtie thĩinĩ wa maumĩrĩra ma gĩthurano. Ngwatanĩro ya athũrimi ya gĩthurano kuma maumĩrĩra ma IEBC maratwarana na mao. Na mwĩrĩ wa afitha wa IEBC kuma Embakasi ya irathĩro kuonekana mwena wa Loitoktok. Ndakugeithia muno hwaĩ-inĩ wa ũmũthĩ na ndakunyita ũgeni thĩinĩ wa mohoro maitũ ma Inoro hwaĩ-inĩ niĩ njĩtagwo Winrose Wangui mmemerekia witũ na rũthiomi rwa ciĩko nĩ Wangari wa Macharia na tũkĩambĩrĩria mũtongoria wa ngwatanĩro ya Azimio One Kenya Alliance Raila Odinga nĩ areganĩte na maumĩrĩra ma gĩthurano gĩa president marĩa maranĩrĩirwo ira. Raila augĩte mũikarĩri wa commission ya ithurano na mĩhaka Wafula Chebukati nĩ arathogire wendi wa mũingĩ ũrĩa waikirie kũra kiumia gĩthiru. Raila ekwaragia na andĩki a mohoro arĩ hamwe na mũtirithia wake Martha Karũa na mũtongoria wa kĩama kĩa Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka.
Today, I want to address my fellow Kenyans and the international community about the 2022 Kenyan elections and the role of the Independent Election and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC, the body mandated by the Constitution and the law to conduct and manage elections. On August 9th, 2022, millions of Kenyans turned out in large numbers in an attempt to choose their leaders at the national, county, and local levels after long and generally peaceful campaigns. But yesterday, August 15th, our budding democracy suffered a major setback. As a result, Kenya faces a grave legal and political crisis as a result of the actions of Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the chairperson of the IEBC. The Constitution and our laws are clear about how the IEBC should conduct its business. There is no more important role for the IEBC than the conduct, transmission, and tallying of the presidential election. You are painfully aware of the past political biases by the IEBC that plunged this country into its darkest chapter. The terrible memories of the aftermath of the 2007 elections are still fresh in our minds. In 2017, the Supreme Court of Kenya nullified the presidential election again because of the misconduct of the IEBC. What we saw yesterday was a travesty and a blatant disregard of the Constitution and the laws of Kenya by Mr. Chebukati and a minority of IEBC commissioners. The law is clear on the role of the chairperson of the IEBC. The law does not vest in the chairperson the powers of a dictator to rule the IEBC unilaterally. The IEBC is structured as a democratic institution in which decisions must be taken either by consensus or by a vote of the majority. The chairperson and a tiny minority of commissioners have no legal authority to take weighty decisions and proclaim them as the rulings of the IEBC. The law on the IEBC provides that unless a unanimous decision is reached, a decision on any matter before the Commission shall be by a majority of the members present and voting. I want to repeat. Unless a unanimous decision is reached, a decision on any matter before the Commission shall be by a majority of the members present and voting. In addition, the Court of Appeal in the Maina Kiai case ruled, and I quote again, reiterate as we conclude that there is no doubt from the architecture of the laws we have considered that the people of Kenya did not intend to vest or concentrate such sweeping and boundless powers in one individual, that is the chairperson of the appellant. That is why I and Azimio La Umoja One Kenya and the nation at large were shocked yesterday to learn that Mr. Chebukati alone decided to pronounce himself on the supposed winner of the 2022 presidential elections. We understand that only Mr. Chebukati alone had access to the tally of the presidential vote. He denied all the commissioners access to that information until he suddenly appeared before the commissioners in the late afternoon to present them with a fait accompli. Barely 2 hours before his announcement, Mr. Chebukati called a meeting of the IEBC and revealed to them the different results he was going to announce. 4 of the 7 protested Mr. Chebukati's actions. But Mr. Chebukati, whose mind appeared made up, did not entertain any discussion of the results, precipitating a walkout by a majority of the commissioners, who promptly denounced the results at a press conference. We know what happened next. A majority of the commissioners walked out and held a press conference where they denounced the results. Our view in Azimio is clear. The figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void. I repeat, the figures announced by Mr. Chebukati are null and void and must be quashed by a court of law. In our view, there is neither a legally and validly declared winner nor a president-elect. Mr. Chebukati's announcement purporting to announce a winner is a nullity. He acted with gross impunity and in total disregard of the Constitution and our laws. He could have plunged our country into chaos had our supporters not exercised great restraint. Such blatant acts of impunity can be a threat to the security of our country. It is not up to us to decide whether Mr. Chebukati has committed an offense. We leave that determination to the appropriate authorities. But for avoidance of doubt, I want to repeat that we totally and without reservations reject the presidential results announced yesterday by Mr. Chebukati. I want to commend our supporters for remaining calm and keeping the peace, and I urge them to continue to do so. Let no one take the law into their own hands. We are pursuing constitutional and lawful channels, not to fear anything. Kenyans are with them. Today, I do not want to fully address our strategies going forward. But suffice it to note that we will be pursuing all constitutional and legal options available to us. We will do so because we regard the many flaws in the elections and the wrongs committed by the IEBC as fatal to the process and the outcome announced by Mr. Chebukati. We urge Kenyans and the friends and partners of Kenya abroad to stand tall and be counted as we seek to advance the ideals of democracy and an open society that we have always stood for. We will pursue justice for our supporters and for all Kenyans so that their choices are respected and honored. May God bless you and may God bless Kenya.
Commissioner ana a commission ya ithurano na mihaka ni mareganite na maumĩrĩra ma gĩturwa kĩa president na makiuga mathabu maria maranĩrĩirwo nĩ mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wa commission ino Wafula Chebukati matiraringana. Matongoretio nĩ munini wa mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wa commission ino Juliana Cherera. Commissioner aya maugĩte atĩ harĩ maũndũ mataknathi na mbere wega thĩinĩ wa maumĩrĩra maya.
In the Serena media briefing, we stated that we will not take ownership of the results of the results yesterday of the presidential election declared and announced by Mr. Chebukati. In this regards, our reasons to decline to take ownership of the results so declared and announced are as follows. 1. That the aggregation of the percentages of the results scored by the 4 presidential candidates who were on the ballot as declared by Mr. Chebukati presented to us a mathematical absurdity that defies logic. Mr. Chebukati's aggregation was as follows. Raila Odinga, 48.85%. William Ruto, 50.49%. Waiga Maure, 0.27%. Wajakoya George, 0.44%. This summation gives us a total of 100.01%. The 0.01% translates to approximately 142,000 votes, which will make a significant difference in the final results. We therefore decline to take ownership of the said results because the aggregation resulted in a total exceeding the percentage of 100, which cast doubt on the accuracy of the source of the figures tallied, and when we demanded that we verify our record, the chairman declined, overruled us, and insisted on declaring and announcing the said results. The results announced by Mr. Chebukati lacked a critical ingredient, namely the total number of valid votes cast to support the percentages scored by the 4 candidates. In the absence of a credible and verifiable explanation, we concluded that the process that went into generation of Form 34C, which he used to declare results of the presidential election, was opaque and incapable of earning our ownership and confidence. Guided by the authority of Maina Kiai case, petition number 106 of 2016, as upheld by the Court of Appeal, in Civil Appeal number 105 of 2017 and affirmed by the Supreme Court of Kenya, we state categorically that the results of the presidential election held in August 9, 2022, declared and announced by Mr. Wafula Chebukati on August 15, 2022, belonged to himself and do not represent the declaration and announcement by Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. The Commission has to process the results before they are declared and announced by the chairperson. The Commission's chairperson has conducted the election as though he is the National Returning Officer, a non-existent role, and his role in declaring results that were not approved by plenary by all 7 commissioners renders the results unconstitutional to the extent that this is his own results as opposed to those of IEBC. By the time the chairman declared and announced the final results from certain constituencies had not been announced.
Nayo Commission ya Ithurano na Mĩhaka IEBC nĩcabithĩtie notithi ngathĩti-inĩ ya thirikari ndũmĩrĩri ĩkindĩrĩte William Samoei Ruto ta president mũthure wa bũrũri wa Kenya na Rigathi Gachagua ta mũnini wake kĩhĩtahĩtano-inĩ gĩa gĩthurano kĩa mwaka wa 2022. Notithi ĩno ĩrekereirio mathaa 18 thutha wa mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wa Commission ya Ithurano na Mĩhaka IEBC Wafula Chebukati kwanĩra William Ruto ta president mũthure kũringana na gĩcunjĩ kĩa 138 gĩa gatiba ya bũrũri. Thutha ũcio Chebukati araheire Ruto certificate ya kuonania ũhotani wake.
The president-elect had a running mate.
Uthiĩte na mbere kwĩrorera mohoro ma Inoro hwaĩ-inĩ tũkwamba kũhũmũka o hanini ndũgathiĩ kũraya nĩ tũracokereria.
Building the containers was by chance. This was more of a DIY. So I worked with local fundis. In fact, the main person here was the welder. The main challenge was space. Putting the space to be functional. I wanted this thing to be high quality, high end. So I can say the finish is expensive. I can't give an estimate, but I know it's a lot.
To watch this story and more, download the Citizen Digital app today.
Kenya's #1 app, Citizen Digital.
Muriega andũ aitũ nĩ George Waciuri woka haha kũmũcokeria ngatho muno andũ arĩa magũrĩte mũgũnda ũyũ witũ wĩ Nanyuki ũrĩa twĩtaga the Great Oasis Nanyuki. Mũgũnda ũyũ mũraũgũrire nayo na nĩtũracokeria mwathani ngatho tondũ rĩu title nĩ ciumĩte. We wĩgũrire Nanyuki nĩ ũgũkena. Bara ĩno ũrona haha nĩyo ĩrekĩrwo rami nĩ thirikari, nĩ wĩtagwo Nanyuki Rumuruti Road. Nĩ tũthondekete mabara maya mothe tũgekĩra maramu, tũgekĩra marking fence, no ũgũre eka 5, no ũgũre eka 10, no ũgũre eka 2, no ũgũre eka nĩgetha nawe ũkĩgĩre kĩndũ mũciĩ wa Nanyuki.
Wenyukuhanĩte na ũndũ ũhanĩkĩire prachi rĩu hihi?
Baba nĩkĩ ũrarĩrĩria?
Ndĩrakũria atĩrĩ ndeto nĩ ya prachi rĩ nyukuhanĩte nayo.
Ndagũthaitha tiga gũtinda ũkiuga ũguo. Njĩra nĩkĩ kĩrathiĩ na mbere? Karĩ kĩ? Njĩra.
Rithi nĩ egũkĩte mũciĩ.
Atĩ?
Nũũ ũgacanũka rĩwe? Tigũcanũka. Ngai, ũgũtũra ũũ? Atĩa ngĩrĩ sawa?
With the power of Dettol Bar Soap, it cleans and protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Dettol antibacterial soap 60 grams is now 50 shillings.
tugithie na mbere kamiti ya bururi ya gutara thirikari maundu-ini megie ugitiri ugite thutha wa mihango ya ithurano kuinikirira riu riera ria bururi ni riagiriru gwitikiria gucokeria mihango ta mutugo muingi utari na wagagu wothe. Oho ni matugiretie muingi kumana na kwihotha hari kunyita itemi kuiga thayo muno makiria riri bururi urari kigera-ini gia gutua matua maruru. Julius Karidwa munene ni aratariria.
Thutha wa Kenya kuheo ihumo kari ihinda ria kunyita itemi mihango-ini ya githurano kiria kiriinikirire riu ni ihinda ria gucokereria biacara na mihango ingi ta mutugo thutha wa kamiti ya bururi ya gutara thirikari maundu megie ugitiri kweheria wagagu wothe uria ungikorwo weyumiririe mbere hindi na thutha wa githurano.
The National Security Advisory Committee wishes to assure all Kenyans and all other persons resident in our nation that the government has and continues to take all necessary measures to ensure that the entirety of the country is safe and secure.
Muikariri giti wa kamiti ino Joseph Kinyua ni atugiritie a Kenya ni gutithiriria kuiga thayo riri bururi uratuaga matua na arauga honge cia ugitiririe handu hothe gutigirira gicinga gia thayo wa bururi ni giathi na mbere na kurutirwo.
I therefore call on all Kenyans and the business community to resume their normal daily activities and get back to the business of building our great nation.
Kinyua ni ahurire ruhi honge cia ugitiri iria ciehotho tuku na muthenya gutigirira gutire ngai ya ciatumuka ona kana kwagararwo kwa ihoto cia muingi.
The declaration of the presidential election results sets in motion other constitutional processes for the transition going forward.
Ndomiriri no yukite thutha wa mihango gukundera tauni-ini imwe ahuri biacara makihinga biacara ciao kumana na hahu wa thutha wa githurano. Girifotera Inoro TV Jitago Julius Karivi wa munene.
Kurumira uhotani wa munini wa President William Ruto gutuika President wa gatano wa bururi atongoria guothe thiini wa thi ona gitiro-ini kia Africa ni moete mweke ucio gutugiria Ruto ona kumutugiria ni undu wake guthurwo ta President wa gatano wa bururi wa Kenya. Haron Njoroge wa Maina ni aratariria.
Asanteni sana.
Ndomereri cia wendi mwega na gukungũira uhotani wa President muthure gutuika President wa gatano wa bururi William Ruto no irathie na mbere gutumwo kuma kona ciothe cia thi. President wa bururi turigaine wa Uganda Yoweri Museveni augite muingi wa bururi ucio ni urakungũira uhotani wa William Ruto gutuika President wa gatano wa bururi. Nake President wa bururi wa Tanzania Samia Suluhu Hassan atugiretie a Kenya ni gutafania githurano kiri na thayo na oho agatugiria President muthure William Ruto akiuga ni atanyite gutwarithia na mbere unyitaniri wa Kenya na Tanzania uria ukoretwo kuo kwa ihinda ria miaka mingi. Na kwa irathiro ria Kenya turigainie na bururi wa Somalia kuria President wa bururi ucio Abdullahi Farmajo atugiretie uhotani wa Ruto na githurano gia thayo bururi-ini akihoera Ruto Ngai amuteithie akinyanirie kioneki giake gia kugacirithia Kenya. Ona kuma muhaka wa rugongo rwa bururi Prime Minister wa bururi wa Ethiopia Abiy Ahmed ni atugiretie Ruto ni uhotani wake akimwendithiria wega utungata-ini wa bururi na ona wa gitaro. Ndomereri ino ya wendi mwega no tayo itumirwo Ruto na a Kenya ni President wa Zimbabwe Emerson Mnangagwa akiuga ugi wa Ruto ni uguteithia a Kenya na Kenya o hamwe na gitaro kia Afrika. Ona President wa Nigeria Muhammadu Buhari akiendithiria Ruto kwihitithio kwega na wathani mwega augite mari eri ni megutwarithia na mbere unyitaniri uria ukoretwo kuo gatagati ga Kenya na Nigeria. Tukihuduka gitaro-ini giki kia Afrika ya irathiro, President wa bururi wa Burundi Evariste Ndayishimiye onake ni atugiritie Ruto ni uhotani wake na oho agatugiria a Kenya ni gutafania githurano gia thayo akiuria aria mataiganire na maumĩrĩra macio mahuthire magoti kumatetia. Handũ-inĩ ha Inoro TV jitagwo Harun Njoroge wa Maina.
Nayo ngwatanĩro ya athũrimi a gĩthurano ya ILOG yugĩte gĩthurano kĩnene nĩ kĩrekirwo na waragania na maumĩrĩra maratwarana na marĩa maraturanĩire. ILOG yugĩte kũrekererio kwa maumĩrĩra rũrenda-inĩ rũngĩkinyĩrĩka nĩ mũingĩ wothe kũratũmire commission ya ithurano yonanie ũtheri mũtaratara-inĩ ũyũ wothe wa gĩthurano. Mase Wandia wa Mũrĩithi nĩ aratarĩria.
Muthenya umwe thutha wa kwanĩrĩrwo kwa maumĩrĩra ma gĩturwa gĩa president, athũrimi ma kĩthurano a ngwatanĩro ya ILOG nĩ macokanĩrĩirie riboti ya mũtaratara mũgima wa kĩthurano na kũringana na ũthuthuria wao. Maumĩrĩra ma IEBC nĩ mararinganire na mao.
ILOG notes a significant drop in voter turnout compared to previous elections. Through the PVT, ILOG can confirm that both the turnout rate and the official results announced by the EBC consistent with its PVT projections.
Riboti ya ILOG yonanĩtie atĩ ona gũtuĩka mũingĩ ũtĩneyumĩrie gũikia kura na njĩra nene, mũtaratara wa IEBC wa kũrekereria maumĩrĩra ũrarĩ wa ũtheri, amu mũingĩ nĩ ũreyonagĩra maumĩrĩra maya rũrenda-inĩ rwa commission ĩno, na kwoguo mwĩyenderi ararĩ na ũhoti wa gũturanĩra maumĩrĩra.
ILOG notes that the results transmission system worked much better than expected, with over 99% of scanned images of the 34A and 34B posted on the IEBC web portal.
Gĩkundi gĩkĩ kiugĩte maumĩrĩra makĩo na marĩa ma IEBC mararĩ bakuhĩ kũbanana igana kwa igana.
Candidate 1, Odinga Raila Amolo. Official IEBC result 48.85%. PVT projection 48.7%. Margin of error plus or minus 2.1%. Ruto William Samoei. Official IEBC results 50.49%. PVT projection 50.7%. Margin of error plus or minus 2.1%.
Ibida-inĩ rĩu ILOG nĩ ĩbeanĩte mendekithia ma ũrĩa IEBC ĩngĩka nĩguo kũgacĩrithia mĩtaratara ya kĩthurano kĩa mwaka wa 2027.
We are extremely concerned about the chaos that broke out at the National Tallying Center at Bomas of Kenya, as well as a split within the IEBC, leading to some commissioners to quit from the tallying process and issue their own statements prior to the announcement of the presidential results. ILOG therefore calls on all Kenyans to remain calm and maintain peace under the circumstances.
Ona gũkĩrĩ ũguo ngwatanĩro ĩno yugĩte nĩ gũcoka o rĩngĩ kũbeana riboti ngindĩrĩku ya mbere hĩndĩ na thutha wa kĩthurano thikũ 60 kuma kwanĩrĩrwo kwa maumĩrĩra ma gĩturwa gĩa president. Ngĩribotera Inooro TV, njĩtagwo Mase Wandia wa Mũrĩithi.
Nayo kanjũ ya ũgitĩri nĩ gathĩrĩirie ũrĩa Kenya meyumĩririe na njĩra nene gũthurana na thutha ũcio gweterera maumĩrĩra ma gĩthurano gũtarĩ na ngahĩha iraigwĩka. Ndũmĩrĩri ya rũhonge-inĩ rũrũ rũrĩtie Kenya gũthiĩ na mbere gũikarania na thayũ matekũgayũkanio nĩ ateti ũteti ũrĩa nĩ wa mahinda. Kahinda-inĩ o kau na ũbarũthi wa Amerika no ũrekereirie ndũmĩrĩri ya kũria Kenya matũgĩrie thayũ na oho kũria atongoria a ciama metĩkĩre kwarĩria arũmĩrĩri ao na kũmoria maige thayũ no makiria kihinda giki ihinda rĩrĩ rĩa kĩmera kĩa ũteti gĩtarĩ kĩrainĩkĩrĩra.
Niaje? Ni kama unashangaa kwa nini naangalia simu with so much focus, eh? Usishangae sana. Nimekuwa ndani ya story kabisa. Ni kama ile alia juzi. Ni kama nilikuwa hapo iki happen. And when this new market was being opened, ni kama nilikuwa hapo tu. Hata vile local tourists for a special rate at the coast, I was there. And when this new road was being commissioned, I was right there. Na hata wewe unaweza kuwa ndani ya story wherever you are. Just download Citizen Digital.
Stay informed on all the news and events as they happen across the country, the continent, and the world at large. Download Citizen Digital, Kenya's #1 news app.
Big leagues are back. Enjoy boosted odds on the English Premier League, the French Ligue 1, the German Bundesliga, La Liga, Italian Serie A, and many top leagues only on Shabiki.com. Kuwa Shabiki. Play now. Strictly not for persons under the age of 18. Betting can be addictive. Play responsibly. Shabiki.com is authorized and regulated by the BCLB. License number 416.
Oh yes, Idhwe Top Care niturakwira asanti sana nigutwarana na Idhwe thabari ineno ya oigithia na riu no turakuririkania ati twina mugunda Juja na niguo Juja Paradise Phase 31 uria turendia 695,000 na kuo Joska twina Shujaa Gardens uria turendia 595,000 only na migunda eno yere wari hangirigana rimwe ugetekerio gwaka hau icio inge tukarikanira naguo mugunda wa Matu turendia 195,000 migunda eno yothe ni meiriga wega ina geti mae na thitima.
Ofisi cito cie Rwai Town kana Roiro tuhurire thimu namba 0708 000 999. Top Care ni mucie waku mwehokeku wa uhigithia.
Our exotic and exciting fragrances got you covered.
I'm sorry.
Tropical, do your thing.
Urenda kunjira tutirainoka mucii?
Inoka ina rambiri ni haru
ndirathie nawe kuria guothe urathie.
We inoka eko we nyiki asha ndigũthie ũgũtiga haha we ika.
Kaũndũ karĩa ndĩrenda gũkwĩra thaa ici nĩ njũĩ ti kaũndũ kahũthũ no nginya wĩke. O ta ũrĩa ndakwĩra mũbira wĩ mwena waku we nĩwe ũkũmenya ũrĩa ũgũthaka naguo. Twĩ hamwe.
The Great Oasis Nanyuki mugunda uyu muraugurire nayo na nituracokeria mwathani ngatho tondu riu title ni ciumite ni tuthondekete mabara maya mothe tugekira maramu tugekira marking fence nigetha nawe ukigire kindu mucii wa Nanyuki.
Ni wega muno ni unyitaniri wako tugithi na mbere nyumba na arata a Daniel Musyoka ofitha uria warugameire mihango ya ithurano Embakasi ya irathiro ni moretie thirikari yambike uthuthuria wa naihenya na yoere makinyaria magwetanitio na gikuo giake thutha wa mwiri wake gukorwo utetwo githaka-ini gia Kilobero Loitoktok county ni ya Kajiado. Kuringana na komanda wa borithi Kajiado ya Mũhuro Shadrack Ruto augite uthuthuria uronania Musyoka ambite kuragwo mbere ya mwiri wake guteo. Jego Wambui ni aratariria.
Mutaroini uyu githaka-ini gia Kilobero Loitoktok county ya Kajiado ni kwarithia mahiu maronire mwiri wa muthuri utetwo na thutha wa kuhura riboti kuri maofitha borithi urakurikana ni wa Daniel Mbulu Musyoka afitha wa komishoni ya ithurano uria worire tariki 11 akirugamirira githurano kia Embakasi ya irathiro
kama kilomita 2 kutoka Loitoktok town ukielekea mpakani kati ya Kenya na Tanzania. Na tulipofika huko kuna wachungaji walikuwa na chunga mifugo huko ndio wakapasha habari.
Kuringana na komanda wa borithi Kajiado ya Mũhuro Shadrack Ruto augite uthuthuria uronania Musyoka ni tambite kuragwo mbere ya mwiri wake utetwo mwena uyu.
Huyu mtu ni kama aliwekwa mahali fulani akakaa kidogo sababu mahali pale ni wafugaji wa ng'ombe ama wafugaji wa mifugo wanatembea kila wakati sababu ya kiangazi na wangekuwa wamepata mapema.
Na kushangaza ni kwamba mtu alipotea Wednesday alikuwa tu fresh, which means ni kama akuliwa njana usiku.
Marikia gukura na mwiri family na arata Musyoka maugite arari mwendi thayo na ndarari nondu mangikwira niguo racungiririe giko kiu.
Ni
uchunguzi ufanywe wa kutosha, sababu kulingana na vile namuelewa, nafikiri alikufa kwa sababu ya kufuata haki.
We also call on the Inspector General of Police to deploy the best investigative resources this country has to unravel the heinous actors responsible for this cruel act.
Atigite mutumia wake na ciana igiri na ararutite wira na komishoni ya ithurano kwa ihinda ria miaka 13. Ngiribotera Inoro TV njitagwo Jenga Waboi.
Haya, tutigire guoko kwa uthuthuria guthi na mbere na gwika uthuthuria wigie riboti yo yake hatugithi na mbere. Mubunge wa Kimilili Dismas Barasa guthi na mbere guikana thero kwa ihinda ria thikũ 10 niguo kuhe maabitha uthuthuria ihinda ria kurumanira na shira uria umung'etheire. Kuratuika Dismas ari na shira wa kuhura rithathi Brian Olunga uria ni muteithĩrĩria wa mung'ethanĩri wake wa hakuhi agitetera giturwa giake mbere ya mucirithania wa igoti ria Bungoma mwena wa thitango ugite wongererwo ihinda niguo riboti nginyaniru yandikithio ni maabitha ABC na NYS aria meyoneire giko giki ceceni-inĩ ya gũikiria kura ya Chebukwambe.
Nimefungulia hii boot.
Muthenya umwe thutha wa kwanirwo kwa maumĩrĩra ma gĩthurano gĩturwa kĩa o president uhoreru na ukindiru nironeka ucokereirie kaunti-inĩ ya Mombasa mũingĩ ukioneka guthie na mbere na mĩhang'o yao ya o muthenya. Arũmĩrĩri a mwaho wa kĩũteti wa Kenya Kwanza makioneka gũkũngũĩra ũhotani wa president Mũthure William Ruto na munini wake Rigathi Gachagua, na ho makĩũria mwaho wa Azimio gwĩtĩkĩra maumĩrĩra gĩturwa-inĩ kĩu. Na tondũ gĩthurano kĩa ũgavana kaunti ya Mombasa gĩtiĩkirwo iria gitafanio kabini no irathi na mbere atati makimatha kura mbere ya githurano gya tariki 23 mwezi.
Popote tutakapokwenda kusherekea lazima tutawapa watu wetu mwelekeo ya njia gani ambao tutaweza kwenda. Siku ya Jumanne tuhakikishe shule zote ziwe zimefungwa kwa siku hiyo moja au siku mbili ili watu wetu wa Mombasa waweze kwenda kufanya haki yao ya kimsingi ya kuchagua gavana wa pili wa jimbo la Mombasa.
Kwa hivyo nyinyi ambao mmechaguliwa kwa huu muhula, baadhi yenu mimi nitawapatia county assembly huru kabisa. You will do your work. You will make sure you represent your people.
Sana vijana tumeumia, wingi wamekuwa watu wa kushika mapanga, watu wa maskani, watu wa miadarati. Kwa hivyo tufanyie hima kivyovote tuweze angalau bandari ikiwa tarudi kwenye ahadi zenu tupate ajira na mtutolee njia nyingi za kufunguka za kibiashara, hata kama kuleta investors kutoka nje, ili vijana tufungukiwe, tusiweze tena kukaa maskani, tuweze kusaidia wazazi wetu na tufungukiwe kimaisha.
Na hau niho turekeraga turi mu mohoro maitu ma Inoro hwaini magioku mamukira ona shahada thaa ithatũ thie na mbere kwirora Inoro TV njitagwo Winrose Wangui memerekia witu no thiomi rwa Ciiko ni Wangari wa Macharia.
I've always been a Rihanna super fan kwanza kitambo tukiuliza watu mabeshe zangu high school. I don't think I'm Kenya's Rihanna, but kuna some resemblance at some point. Hairstyles fulani nikieka nini na ka Rihanna. So I just embraced it. I mean, kuna time fulani whether imekuwa tao CBD and there's this girl alikuwa anashinda akishout Rihanna, Rihanna.
To watch this story and more, download the Citizen Digital app today.
Kenya's #1 app, Citizen Digital.
ceceni ya Inoro TV.
Kahinda kahituku thiini wa kumkum bagia
Thiothe egetiga ugwitikia we ndukanage kwitikia.
Brach ni munyite na dawa cia kulevya.
Ndaguthaitha riu wethie weke uthuthuria nigetha urekererie mwana wakwa.
No nake Pragia na Mbuhi nimehitete gutigirira kihoto nikioneka.
Ni kairitu gekinyite na gutire mundu uragateithiriria no ningi nie ndiho.
Mundu ria uma na dawa icio athiria